This is a quick tutorial in working with Google Drive and setting up folders for your Accelerate Ed classes and also being able to share those folders with your Accelerate Ed teachers. So the first thing you have to do is find your Google Drive app on your iPad. So for me, I'm going to click on my Google folder and I see here I have a Google Drive, I have Google Docs, Sheets, Slides. I'm going to Google Drive first. When I click on Google Drive, you should already be logged in with your Google Drive school district account. You'll notice that in the upper right-hand corner that it'll be your school district email address that's associated there. If not, you can click on Add Another Account, and then you want to log in with your school district issued username and password or email address and password. So in this case, I'm in my school district account. So the first thing that we always recommend is making sure that you have folders in your Google Drive, one for each class in Accelerate Ed. So in the bottom right-hand corner, notice there's a plus symbol right here. And so when I click on that plus symbol, then I can open up and decide what I want to create that's new. So in this case, I want to create a folder, and I'm going to give the folder the same name. So let's say I'm in third grade. I want to have a folder for science. And I might just call that Science 3 for third grade. And now I'm going to touch Create. And it automatically then added a folder in here. In my folders, I'm looking at it alphabetical order. So I want to scroll down to the S's of my folders to find that one folder that I just created. So that's going to be all part of my list here for what I just recently created. As I look at my list here, these are just all my folders that I have, and I know I have a lot of different ones, so it's very possible that you won't have that many. Here's my science folder. So notice that this science folder that I just created, there's some dots over here, the 3 dots. When I click on those 3 dots, when my teacher gives me the Google account that I need to share documents with him or her on, then I want to be able to go to this folder, click on the 3 dots, click on Share, and this is where I want to add my teacher's Google account email address that my teacher gives me in Accelerate Ed. So let's say my teacher is Mrs. Zimmerman, so I'm going to type her email address that she gave me. And she pops up here just because I've shared with her before. And now that I've selected Mrs. Zimmerman, the only other thing I need to do is this little arrow right here where it's at bottom right corner. I want to click on that little arrow to make sure that it shares that folder, and it tells me Mrs. Zimmerman has been added to Science 3. Now, anything that I put in that folder is going to automatically share with Mrs. Zimmerman. So before I go on, I want to be able to create folders for all my classes. All right, so I'm going to click on the plus symbol again, folder, and I might do ELA 3, create. I might do math 3, create. I might do social studies 3, and I'm touching create. Now, each one of those that I just created, I want to make sure that I'm sharing it to the appropriate teacher. So whomever I have for science, I'm going to share with science. Whomever I have for ELA, I'm going to share with my ELA teacher. So again, to share, I'm going to the dots, clicking on, touching share, and I'll just start typing a teacher's name in there. In this case, my teacher will show up. All right. If you've never typed the teacher's name before, it's not going to show up. You have to type the teacher's full Google email address that they give you. They'll give that to you in their welcome letter to be able to make sure that they walk through with you on this one. And click on the little arrow so it goes directly to them. So once you do that, now how do you actually build and create, and how do you put things in those folders? So if you're instructed to be able to do a Google Doc, when you first come to Drive, let's say it's a lesson for English Language Arts. I'm going to my English Language Arts folder, and I'm going to open it. Now that I've opened that folder, in order to create a Google Doc inside of this folder, I want to go to the plus symbol. And now I can put anything in that folder that I want. I can upload a file to it. I can use my camera. I can put a Google Doc in there, a Google Sheet, a Google Slide. Here I'll put a Google Doc. And you have to give it a name to get started here. So title it and then touch Create. When you do that, you now can type directly on this Google Doc, okay? You have your standard features that you already know for Word, and as you keep typing here, when you're finished with it, in the upper left-hand corner, notice there's a check mark, all right? And there's a give it a name. When I touch on give it a name, I can switch around what I actually title it to be if I want, but this case, I'm gonna just click on the check box, all right? If now I can't edit it. If I want to edit it again, notice the bottom right-hand corner, there's a little pencil. Click on the pencil, and now I can edit it again. When I'm done editing, checkbox, and then if I choose that arrow, now what it's going to do is throw me over to Google Docs. I'm actually in the Google Doc app and looking at all these apps right now. And so I can get back to Drive. It's a different app. So Google Docs is an app and Google Drive is an app. If I want to get back to Google Drive, I'm going to drag my finger from the very bottom of the iPad to see everything that I have open. Drive is still there. I'm going to touch my Google Drive. And notice it doesn't have anything in right now, but it should be because I just created something. So I just kind of need to refresh it to get it to wake up. So in the upper left-hand corner, there's an arrow. I'm going to click on that arrow. And here's my ELA3 folder. And when I click on that ELA3 folder, it's going to be able to refresh what I'm actually in at this point. So anytime that I'm in that folder, I can drag all the way down here. See how this little arrow is scrolling right now? That's refreshing everything that I have. All right, so then I can go down and look through my folders again. And in this case, look for ELA3, and look, there it is. There's the doc I just created. Now, I don't have to reshare this doc with my teacher because it's already in the folder that I shared with my teacher. So I don't have to go to this upper right-hand corner, but I can check. Notice when I click on it, who has access? There's my teacher that I already shared, because I don't have to share each individual Google Doc as long as I put it in that ELA folder. So again, I'm in Google Docs right now. I'm going scrolling up from the bottom, and I'm going to go over to Drive, and right here is my actual Drive folder. So anything that I create inside this folder is automatically going to share with the appropriate teacher, and he or she then will have access to that actual Google Doc, Google Sheets, or Google Slide Deck of whatever I'm trying to do. Again, this is on the iPad, and so you want to make sure that you are familiar on the iPad here, where you have your Google Drive app, as you see here, and then you'll see Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. I don't ever go directly into Google Docs, Sheets, and Slides. I always stay focused with Google Drive first, find the folder that I want, and then open and create within that folder. Again, this is all via using the iPad in Accelerate Education for any type of Google Drive, Google Docs, Sheets, or Slides assignments you may have for your teachers.